Now, as the world fights several wars, America is fighting its own, where its own home front is now a battleground. The United States of America has the most amount of guns in the world, and by extension, the most amount of firearms-related fatalities. Gun violence remains alarmingly high, with mass shootings and firearm-assisted suicides on the rise. In a nutshell, America is undergoing an epidemic, bringing back the same old debate. Is the right to bear arms trumping the right to life? Let's unpack this complex reality of America's ongoing gun war.
The rising tide of gun violence in the United States is a phenomenon that doesn't just make headlines. It tears at the social fabric of the nation, becoming a painful episode of national trauma. To begin to understand these complex dynamics, we need to start with the numbers. The United States has seen an alarming increase in mass shootings over the years. Here is a snapshot of numbers over the decade. In 2014, there were 273 reported mass shootings. The number jumped to 336 in 2015 and continued to rise to 383 in 2016. There was a slight drop to 348 in 2017, but that was the year of the deadliest shooting in modern US history, the Las Vegas massacre, where over 50 lives were lost and 500 people injured. The trend picked up again in 2018 and has been steadily climbing, reaching a shocking 690 by 2021. By 2022, the country experienced 647 mass shootings, and as of the 26th of October this year, there have already been 565 deaths in mass shootings. The most recent incident took place in Maine, during which 18 people died. But mass shootings are just the tip of the iceberg. In 2021, gun violence reached its highest, claiming nearly 49,000 lives in the United States. Of these, more than half were due to suicide. These numbers shed light on both the mental health crisis and the gun violence epidemic. Homicides, unintentional deaths, and law enforcement-related deaths also figure into these grim statistics. The international perspective is startling. 80.5% of all homicides in the US involve a firearm, compared to 40% in Canada, 11% in Australia, and a mere 4% in England and Wales. This is in a country where there are more guns than people, with a ratio of 120.5 firearms per 100 residents, according to recent reports. Now, what do the people say? 57% of Americans support stricter gun laws, yet the debate is heavily polarized along party lines. And the influence of powerful gun rights lobbies, like the National Rifle Association, cannot be overstated. They have consistently outspent gun control advocates in the political arena. Now, turning to 2023, the numbers remain bleak, with over 35,000 deaths and counting. And once again, over half of these deaths are suicides, adding the mental health aspect into the already deadly mix. These aren't just numbers or statistics, they're fathers, mothers, children whose lives are cut short. States like Texas, California, and Florida top the charts in these tragedies. Law enforcement-related fatalities are another aspect to this crisis. This year alone, over 1,100 people have been killed in police-involved incidents, while more than 40 officers have died in the line of duty, highlighting a complex and polarizing issue. The rise of gun violence in the United States is complex and multifaceted. It's tied to the very roots of the nation. It is entangled in its constitution and enmeshed in a heavily charged political and cultural landscape. Now, a legal battle is unfolding at the heart of the nation. According to a report published in The Hill, the U.S. Supreme Court is currently weighing a case that could redefine the balance between public safety and gun rights. What is at stake? A law that bars domestic abusers from owning firearms. The decision's potential impact is immense. This case raises and ties into a pertinent question. Does the right to own a firearm outweigh the right to live? In most parts of the world, the answer is a resounding no. But in today's America, that's a debate that continues to rage. Historically, the Second Amendment was seen as a protection for state militias, not individual gun ownership. Recent interpretations, however, have pivoted toward a more personal right to bear arms, even extending to public spaces. As seen in the landmark cases of District of Columbia versus Heller and New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin, these judicial shifts are not just a domestic concern, but also a global one. They put the U.S. at odds with basic human rights concerning protection of life, liberty, and security of person. Human rights groups have long been calling for a re-evaluation of U.S. gun policies to align with these fundamental principles. But will America finally listen?